because it's an absolute disgrace that this goal is allowed. It's an absolute disgrace.
Question: why is the officiating so bad in the Premier League this season? Can anyone answer this? For some reason, it seems like nobody can. Yet again, another key matchup in the Premier League has us talking about the referees more than the actual football that was on display. It makes no sense how this keeps happening. For a man like Mikel Arteta, who was far more often than not calm, cool and collected when it comes to addressing the media, to come out and practically denounce the entirety of English football is crazy.
Because it's not a goal. For many reasons, it's not a goal.
How long is this going to go on for? And what can we realistically do? Yo, what is going on everyone? Really hope you're all doing well. I'm Tinashe, welcome back to the channel. If that button below is red, feel free to hit it. Only if you want to, no stress. Doesn't really matter which team you support. If you see someone wearing this outfit on the pitch next to your players, and you see this thing on the touchline, you've automatically got yourself a large chance of getting shafted. Some people say that the game right now is hanging by a thread. Some people say that it's always been this way, and the only reason there's such an uproar about it right now is because the bigger teams are getting shafted more and more frequently. Honestly, it doesn't really matter which camp you sit in. None of this is good. This week's big victims were Arsenal, meaning that at the time of making this video, Tottenham Hotspur are the only team in the Premier League that have yet to face defeat. Rewind the clock about 4 months and tell me that, I would have laughed in your face. On the flip side, this was Arsenal's first defeat of the Premier League season. Now, I didn't really expect for them to replicate the heroics of last year when they had an incredible start that time around, but they haven't been bad this year. This result, however, was very disappointing for them. At St. James's Park, the match itself was heated from the start, just what we wanted. And just so you know what kind of game we were dealing with, the challenges were flying left, right and center all match. There were 6 yellow cards and 23 fouls in total. Kind of paints a picture, right? From a purely footballing perspective, you gotta give this one to Newcastle though. Arsenal were good, but they were nowhere near their best. No Partey and no Odegaard certainly wasn't doing them any favors. Obviously not the only thing that went wrong for them, but just thought I'd point that out at least. It's the most cliche phrase in football, but Newcastle just wanted it more, and they deserved what they got. At the same time, based on what actually happened, this isn't necessarily true. Anthony Gordon scored the only goal, and I say goal in inverted commas because this was a contentious one. Jacob Murphy takes a wild swipe and shoots across goal, and it looks as though the ball goes out of play before it gets collected by Joe Willock. Take a look at this right here. This looks out, right? Maybe we need the Japan vs Spain referee team to help us out here. For this particular point in the match, Arsenal players really do need to have a word amongst themselves though. Joe Willock has free reign here to make a cross into the area. Doesn't really matter whether it was out or not, you kind of have to play to the whistle, right? A 3v3 in favor of the attackers in the box is as dangerous a situation as they come. Arsenal players could not have been definitively certain that this was a legal play or not without video assistance, so can't really argue here, gotta play to the whistle. Let's take a look at the other incidents though. Kai Havertz jumps into Sean Longstaff with his studs fully up. A scuffle ensues, but it results in a yellow card. If you're black and white, listen, I'm not gonna argue with you if you think that's a red, but in my opinion, ironically, and trust me, no pun intended, this was grey to me. Bruno clatters into Jorginho with what looks like a clear run-up and elbow to his head. Bro, Jorginho had released the ball 2 business days ago. What is Guimaraes trying to do here? Violent conduct, can easily argue the case for a red card to be given, no card given. A scuffle takes place, he kicks the ball off at Havertz, again, kind of violent conduct, definitely unsportsmanlike, no card given. He gets aggressive with Declan Rice after that, up in his face, again, no card given. Those last 2 are pretty much just parts of the game. You can't be giving cards for anything, especially when players get heated, that's what we want. But at the same time, it's a little bit mad that this guy ran into the tunnel at halftime with no card to his name whatsoever. He did get a card though, in the 88th minute, his 5th of the season so far, so at least Arsenal can celebrate that. I mean, doesn't really help that much, but they can celebrate it. The referees and VAR are really having a field day this season. I've made the joke maybe 3 or 4 times so far this season that referees are sleeping at the job, but I don't think they were in this match. They were 3 separate VAR checks for the goal, and still the decision was contentious. Now, if there was only one, I do think that we would still be seeing backlash, but I don't think it would be nearly as heavy as it is right now. Anyway, on to some positive takeaways. Just want to give a shout out to Joe Linton from this one. Played with some incredible ferocity, and I loved it. It's been 2, maybe 3 years since Joe Linton turned into the player that he is now for Newcastle, but I'm still in shock sometimes whenever I see him play for them. The aggression he has in the midfield, how good he is, his decision making. This guy was once labeled as one of the worst Premier League signings, and now he's putting up man of the match performances like it's nothing. Yesterday was still the case. He's a box-to-box menace, and both fans and staff alike probably didn't see this coming. If I remember correctly, he was their most expensive player when they bought him. He was in that 35-40 million pound range. It's good to see they're getting their money's worth. Kai Havertz was again disappointing. The guy doesn't really do himself many favors. You know, a lot of people were of the opinion that he shouldn't have been on the pitch after he got that yellow card. I don't know what it is about him. He just doesn't really seem to be using any of his traits too well. Doesn't seem to be getting into the right positions at times. It's an odd one. Arsenal fans, let me know what you think about that guy. The Arteta meltdown after the match, as I said in the intro, was kind of mad. Again, it's still wild to see this man react like this. You gotta feel for him. But this goes back to what I was saying in the intro. At times like this, it doesn't really matter who you support at the end of the day. I think we can all agree that we can't support referees when they make decisions like this. Now, there's all this talk about double standards too. There are plenty of clips of managers being very passive when bad decisions go in their favor. But then when things like this happen, it's a travesty. It's a disgrace. It's disgusting. And then we have the Newcastle fans who are all calling Arsenal fans salty and Arteta salty. But trust me, this sort of thing happens to them against Bournemouth or Dortmund next week, it'll be a completely different story, right? Adding on to all of this, it looks like the officiating has been stealing the show all across Europe this weekend. Just yesterday, same day, Rafa Benitez, who is now the Celta Vigo manager in La Liga, went out on a rant after his team drew 1-1 to Sevilla. Celta were given a penalty at the end of the game, but VAR decided that it wasn't actually that bad of an offense and overturned the decision. He wasn't happy.
I am talking about facts. I am not talking about my impression.
In his eyes, we need to add a physicist to be in the VAR room to determine how much force actually constitutes a foul. All of the world's most renowned physicists were in the Twitter replies chiming in. It makes for some really good reading. Highly recommend. Overreactions and cries for corruption are not surprising at this point. It's a multi-billion-pound industry. It's the biggest league in the world, the richest league in the world at least, and these sort of things keep happening. What are we going to do about it, really? From a big picture perspective, Newcastle United are having a fantastic week. They beat both Man United and Arsenal within the space of only a few days. One of those feats isn't exactly an achievement these days, but you know what I mean. Speaking of United, they just managed to sneak a 1-0 win against Fulham. It was a late goal, and honestly, it's just one of those ones that's going to paper over the cracks of the problems that we have. The goal was scored by Bruno, and it was just one of those ones that, you know when you're in primary school, and it's break time, break's about to end, and people are just going fuck it, chuck it, and just kicking the ball everywhere. That's what happened. But when Bruno got the ball, he controlled it really well, and he scored really well. Forget everything I just said. Bruno Ballon d'Or win. Meanwhile, Manchester City are taking 0 prisoners with a 6-1 win over Bournemouth. I saw a stat yesterday that said Jeremy Doku became the youngest player in the Premier League with 5 goal involvements in a single game, 4 assists and 1 goal. Brilliant. They lose Riyad Mahrez and Cole Palmer. We all talk about how they have huge problems on the wings, and then they go ahead and sign a guy like this. It's not fair. Anyway, back to the whole Arsenal-Newcastle situation. I'm pretty sure we're going to hear a lot more about it in the days to come, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if nothing happens about officiating. I don't know. Who knows? And there we have it. Let me know what you guys think about the situation. I've got a long overdue player video essay coming at the end of the week, so you can look forward to that. Feel free to follow all the socials. That's all from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.